welcome everyone to this month's podcast. I'll be one of your hosts, Cam, and of course with me is Chad. Chad, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing, Cam?
Oh, not bad. Excited for the warm weather that we got coming up.
Yeah, well, I'm also excited for the national championships that are coming up. It's
Yeah,
that
that's
time.
usually what that brings. You have your team coats, but sometimes it's hard to wear them at nationals depending on the season. So,
Yeah, true enough.
yeah. So this time it's the first time in CBF history where both national championships, juniors and seniors, are going to take place in brand new cities that have never hosted before. So this is going to be huge. It's going to provide an opportunity to introduce the sport to a whole new audience of spectators. And luckily tonight we've got the opportunity to speak to two of the men who are responsible for organizing each of those tournaments in their respective provinces. So who do we got with joining us today?
We've got Daryl Lytle. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's a CBF Hall of Fame member and a chairman of the Senior National Committee. He also stood on the CBF board for many, many years when it was first initiated. So he's been a part of the team. He helped put a bunch of policies and bylaws in place when it first came to be. So,
When do you know when it was when it came to be? I don't know that.
Cam,
You
you
don't
know
know
what? You're
either.
gonna make me look stupid,
I,
but no, I don't know. I should
I just
know.
hope you have
I
all the
should
answers.
know, but I don't.
I'll Wikipedia it later. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, and who else we have us joining him from the
And
junior
then
tournament?
yeah, and then John Gossick, which is he's the head of the host committee at the juvenile committee there. That's going to be up in Val d'Or, Quebec.
Yes, that will be a nice close one for me this year, since I don't have to drive all the way out west. So I'm excited to go to the nice close one for me. Oh, 6 hours away is close, I guess.
Still close. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
closer than flying. Yeah.
So we'll get them all in here.
Daryl, there's John.
John's camera's off.
Oh, it's back on now.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for agreeing to come on our humble little podcast here with me and Cam between the pipes. Um, we're excited to have you with us. Cam was saying here that it is the first time in our CBF history that we are going to a national event in a community that's never hosted before, both in the juvenile and the senior. It's the first time, so we're really excited about it. So we're hopeful that it's going to be successful in both places, and we're going to have a great time. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have watched our podcast at all, but we typically start with a few one question that's standard, and our last one's always standard. But we'll start with you, John. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the sport of broomball, or how you've heard about it, or have you played?
I'm originally from the Ottawa Valley, and I am blessed to be from the same hometown as George Brown. And I
Oh,
don't know too much about the sport specifically, other than I was a rink rat when I was young. George was running broomball leagues, tournaments, and I've watched his involvement in the sport globally, for that matter. While I never particularly played very much broomball, um, I've spent my life in sports and recreation, and the last 30 years in the north of Quebec with the Cree Nation. And broomball is a very important part of that fabric. And so, we have predominantly the girls are playing broomball in the Cree Nation, and we have probably 1,200 players from 4 to old timers or masters, whatever you want to call it.
That's awesome.
yeah, it's cool. I've always heard of all the tournaments that are going on up north because the juvenile girls team, they usually have a lot of girls from up north that come to school in Ottawa, and
Right.
so every year we almost have a couple. I think this year we've got four Cree girls on our team, and they're always telling us about the huge tournaments they have at home with big payouts and stuff like that. I'm like, how come they never have a team coming to nationals and stuff. So it's great to finally see that happening. It's good. It's big. It's going to help grow the sport, and the more teams, the better. So,
That's what
Yes.
the plan is.
Daryl, how about yourself? What got you into broomball? Yeah, it sounds like you've had quite the career, ending up in the Hall of Fame so far. So,
Yeah, so I'm the older guy in the group here, I think. So I go way back. So I started playing in 1973 here actually in West Hants, where we're hosting the event. We developed a very strong league here. Running 14 teams in a league was a big deal back in the 70s and 80s, and so I got really involved then. I both played and coached. Coached in my later years, played in my earlier years. I attended 24 national championships. Of the 24, I played in 9 of them, and then I coached in the remainder. I attended the first broomball nationals for me was 1978, and I have to just correct Chad a little bit because Nova Scotia hosted the nationals in 1978 and hosted it again in 2000. So this is our third senior nationals in the province, although it's spread out over quite a number of years. So so I spent 16 years on the board of directors of the Canadian Broomball Federation, which was a really enjoyable time for me. So so I got a lot of history, and then in 2000, 2001, I basically left the game, not because I wanted to, because it's deep in my blood, but I had a son that was deep into hockey and softball, and he took me down a different road. So I ended up not in so many broomball rinks, but I just love the game, and it's brought me so much memory and so much fun over the years.
oh, very cool, Daryl. Actually, you might be able to answer this question. Me and Chad were talking before we had you guys join in. We were talking about when the CBF board kind of started. Do you know what
Yep.
year that happened to be?
Yeah. So so the president of Nova Scotia Broomball in 1976 his name was Ray Sharp, and they had the Quebec tournaments used to go on every year, and teams from Nova Scotia always went to the Quebec tournaments, and he always went there as the president of Nova Scotia Broomball. He was a CEO by profession and a very smart businessman, and so in 1977 they had an invitational tournament in Calgary, and the Nova Scotia men's team finished second in that invitational. It was during that tournament that a group of people got together, Eugene Huneau from Quebec and Ray Sharp and others, and they formed the Canadian Broomball Federation. And the actual first championship was 78 in Halifax. The first 77 one was an invitational one.
Oh, very cool. I knew it was before my time. I just didn't know how long before. So
yeah. So that's sort of where, and Ray stayed on as president of the CBF. He was really the first president, and he stayed there for quite a number of years. So yeah, that's sort of how it got started. I actually have in my archives the brochure and all the information that was given out in the first meeting in 1977 in Calgary. I still have that as a complete package. So yeah,
Wow.
that's very cool. Good on you to hold on to that, because I lose paperwork from the day before. So
yeah, I have a lot of history.
Yeah, it sounds like it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So take us through a glimpse of the schedule for the week. Like let's talk about athlete meetings, if there is any team meetings, the coaches meeting, things like the opening ceremonies, the banquets.
Yeah, be as detailed as possible,
Yeah.
because I know the kids I coach, they don't read their emails, and I'm a kid at heart, so I don't read my emails. So I want you guys to let me know what's going on, so what I can be prepared for, because I'll be at both, and then I can send this video to everybody that I'm coaching, and make sure they're all aware of what's going on. So
Well, the juveniles will be first up in
Yep.
about 12 days. So the teams will arrive depending on where they're coming from the country. They'll arrive on the 24th or the 25th if they're driving from Quebec or Ontario. Less troublesome, but if you're flying from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, a little different. We have a main hotel that we're using as the central point for registrations. It's also the site of the banquet. So, you know, there are, I believe, 8 teams staying at the one hotel. The banquet will be there. And so player registrations, team registrations will arrive. That will be on the Tuesday, the 25th. Will be open until the last team gets in. As far as the CBF side of things, I know that there's a coaches meeting in the evening, and the officials will have their own meeting with the referee in chief as well. When the teams arrive at the main hotel, they will have their packages ready. They'll have their ID badges. So we're still waiting on a few teams to submit their individual mugshots of all the players and coaches. We're through what we've received so far. We had a little upload today, so that's in the works. So when they arrive, we don't want to see a delay. Additionally, we did a pre-order of merchandise. If anyone wanted their souvenir, knowing that sometimes they miss out, we gave all the teams an opportunity to pre-order to guarantee that their apparel would be there. That will be with the team order. So when the coach manager arrives, they'll have the 20 odd registration ID badges for the players, the 4 coaches, etc. They'll also have the banquet tickets. If some of the parents have purchased banquet tickets, they'll be there, accessible to them then, plus the individual merchandise. If the teams would like a photo in their street clothes type of thing, that can be arranged at registration. But our hope is that every team's team picture will be taken on the ice before their first game. We have a photographer ready to go. The arenas are 50 feet apart from each other. It's a twin pad in an older building. It's a major junior arena here for the Val-d'Or team. And so with little delay, the 2 teams will take their team picture without helmets and before they've gone through a warm up and then their hair's a mess or they're sweating or whatever. Team photo ready to go. 2 minutes done. Flip to the other side. Game's on. On the first day, we have a full schedule, although the one little challenge that we've had to face is we do have a major junior team that's in playoffs. The regular season ends on the Saturday. So they're going to be a road team. They have 2 practice times early in the day, 8 a.m. And so the schedule we worked around their 2-hour block of ice, and everything else is typically unfolding. The opening ceremonies will be on the evening of the 26th on the main rink. All the teams will be there in their jerseys, and the 2 teams that are playing the opening game will be full uniform, and I would presume the 4 teams just coming off the ice would still be in their pants. Opening ceremonies should take approximately 20 to 30 minutes window we've left for it. There will be a mix of traditional Indigenous culture celebrated. We are an organizing committee that represents the Cree Nation, and we are playing these games in Val-d'Or, which is on ceded Algonquin territory. And so in the event, we have a team representing the Anishinaabe Nation, which are the Algonquins of Quebec, this is their territory, and they'll have a boys and girls team in this event. So there'll be some reflection of both cultures, plus the standard introductions of the CBF, our organization, the host city, etc. In a nutshell,
wow.
that's it. The banquet goes Friday evening. The last ball drops will be 4 o'clock on Friday. Banquet hall would open at 6. Supper served probably 7, and the whole gamut of awards from the week ready to be presented and wrapped up. There'll be a DJ on for the younger crowd to step out there a little bit. So
Awesome. Wow, John, that
people
was
see just finals. So there are eight bronze and gold medal games on Saturday, and that is nonstop. So full agenda, not too many gaps at all, and so it'll be wall to wall broomball.
nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Excited for it, John. That was a great explanation and timeline of everything going down. I might just send that clip to all the kids I'm coaching because that really breaks down the week for them. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Daryl, you got to follow that up.
Why?
You got all that information ready for us?
John's a tough guy to follow, eh? So the senior and mixed event is huge. By the way, it's 32 teams, which is an enormous amount of teams. So we've got a very busy week. So basically, also we're hosting the Canadian Broomball or Broomball Canada's annual general meetings. The Broomball Canada board will arrive on Saturday for meetings. Some of them are arriving probably before that by the looks of things. So on Saturday the 5th, there's the board of directors meeting. Then on the 6th, we move into a technical meeting with Broomball Canada. Then we have also a sport development meeting on Monday the 7th, followed by the coaches meeting and an athletic reps meeting and the officials meeting. So it's first few days are full of meetings, all being held at one of our host hotels, the Super 8. For us, we're a smaller community, so accommodations is more spread out than they would be with John and Val-d'Or. So those meetings are all held there. Then the games would begin on Tuesday morning. We're playing in two separate arenas. They're not twin ice pads, but they're separate arenas, both brand new arenas. And we start at 7 in the morning and we're going till late at night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then Saturday is the medal round. So lots of games. Like in Val-d'Or, our registration will be held at the Super 8. So when the teams arrive, they'll be given their lanyards and their passes to the event. We'll also meet with the teams to arrange the photography. We're doing the photography a little bit different here, whereas my experience was that some teams would like to wear a certain sweater. So the first game may not indicate that you're wearing the sweater that the team wants, right? So they'll set their photo schedule before one of their games with our photographer, and their photos will be taken prior to that game that they select with the sweaters or the uniforms that they want to have. We have opening ceremonies on Tuesday night, and it is also all teams participating in uniform. We also will have an indigenous theme to our event because we're in the Mi'kmaq Nation. And so that will be also here in West Hants, and a lot of local involvement there. And it's probably going to be about 30-35 minutes. That seems to be what the time limit we have to get to. And then our banquet is going to be quite a celebration, actually, when you consider that we could have over 600 plus people there. So the banquet is being held at the only venue that we have that can handle that is our high school. And so it's going to be held at the high school on the Saturday night with all the awards and presentations. And like John, we did an online store prior to the event. It just closed on March the 10th. And so like in Val-d'Or, the players will arrive for registration. They'll receive their passes and they'll receive their order of anything they ordered online. Same thing. And so, yeah, so we're just looking forward to getting started.
Yeah, we're excited to go. A couple questions for you guys, just based on little information you guys gave there. Will merchandise be available to buy there, or was it pre-order only? And at the high school, I don't think I've been to one at the high school. Were you able to get a liquor permit for the senior banquet?
So John, I'll jump in on you. Sorry, I'll take the lead on this one, and then I'll follow back to you. So the pre-order was a select was a more premium select of items. All of those items won't be available, but there will be definitely items available at the arenas.
Cool.
It's just that we offered up a pre-order with some Nike stuff and some high-end stuff, just in
Oh,
case
nice.
anybody wanted to get a little bit better quality than what they might get at the rink. So no,
Yeah.
we're well ramped up for that. And the
Awesome.
banquet was interesting. The banquet was an interesting piece for us because
It's a lot of people you got to fit.
there were 6 teams added to the event, at one point, and we were actually ready to go with our banquet at another facility. And then when the 6 teams got added, wow, we just blew our numbers. So the only thing left was the high school. And in Nova Scotia, it is not a tradition that you can have a banquet at a high school and serve alcohol. So we actually had to go through the political route. So we had our member of parliament meet with our education minister in the province of Nova Scotia, and between the two of them, they shook hands and made a deal. So we're having a banquet with alcohol at the school.
I'm glad you said that. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about that. So you made me a little nervous when you said it was at high school. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
John, obviously not going to be any alcohol at your banquet, but the clothing, will you have any available to purchase on site or?
Yeah, the purpose of the pre-order was to give us an idea of the interest level. And
Right.
so, rather than anticipate that every participant would purchase something,
Mhm.
we used the pre-order as a guideline to, tailor the order.
Mhm.
And so there will be merchandise available at the rinks till it's gone, or till the close of the closing game.
Perfect. Thank you. So if you get there early, make sure you buy your merchandise on the first day so you're not missing out, right? So
That
Always.
would be
yeah.
that would be the sentiment, I'm sure.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you for
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So you guys talked a little bit about the different things going on. What else is there for the athletes during the week when they're not playing? Like venues or different things or they'll be using during that week.
Well, for Val-d'Or, it's the Valley of Gold, if it's translated into English. And so there's a mining village, historic tour, and plus are opportunities to visit a museum, which is part underground in a gold mine setting. It's not far from the main hotel. That's the main touristy thing. If there's time between games for certain teams, the largest gold mine in the country right now is 25 kilometers north on the main road that you drive through. And this mine literally purchased the town, moved half of it so that they can do this open pit mine. It is an extraordinary sight to drive by. Again, it's an off season for the majority of touristy things. We're deep in winter right now. I would guess in 12 days there'll still be significant snow laying around. So, the other touristy things in Abitibi-Témiscamingue, which is the 2 counties that are comprising this northwest portion of Quebec, is it's mining, it's forestry, and it's snowmobile trails, it's hunting excursions, and those are the typical destination points that the population would have 12 months a year. Hunting and fishing are very popular.
Awesome. That sounds cool. I'm excited I've never been to Val-d'Or, and I've also never been to Nova Scotia. I've never been out east at all. So Daryl, actually my cousin lives right in Windsor. So I was telling her about how I was going out there, and she was telling me how great the arena is out there, but I forgot to ask her what else there was around to do.
So tell me
if
your
we're
cousin's name, because there's not very many people in this municipality that I don't know.
Melissa Caldwell.
Melissa Caldwell. Yes.
Yeah.
I know her. Yes.
No way.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's my first cousin. So yeah.
Oh, right. Great.
Fun.
So Windsor West Hants. So in Windsor and the surrounding community, so we're Windsor Woeful as the Valley part of our organization. And so in Windsor, as you might have heard, we claim to be the birthplace of hockey. And we have a wonderful birthplace of hockey museum that I would encourage every athlete to go see. It's just full of artifacts and the history of hockey in Canada and all over. So it's a wonderful venue to take a walk through. So I hope everybody has an opportunity to do that. We're a community because we're senior. Obviously, we have more wineries than you can count, and all kinds of dining excursions and things like that. So that's pretty much what the municipality has to offer. But we're only 30 minutes from downtown Halifax, so you could just pick what you want to do. You're 30 minutes from Halifax, and so
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Nice. I'm excited. I've never been out east, so I'm sure my wife isn't excited that I'm leaving with a 2-week-old at home at that point. But it'll be nice to get out east there. So
Can't wait to meet you.
yeah, you as well. Is there anything else that you think the team should know about the venues, or about anything special that they can add on there if they're able to purchase pictures of their teams in action or anything like that? And if their families will be able to live stream at home, I know is a big question for a lot of families. They can't make the trip from Saskatchewan or even from Ontario and stuff like that. So, any set links for live streaming, or if it's going to be there at all, John?
Well, we're set up for both rinks to have live stream capabilities. That those will be broadcast back through, I believe, the CBF YouTube page. Is that correct? So that's
Yep,
that's
that's correct.
organized. There's a few little details to iron out, but it won't affect the delivery on that. The one thing that I can tell you is that Val-d'Or hosted senior nationals before, and
79 and 81, and I was there.
there you go. There you go. Now, our organization we're not involved. We didn't exist as an organization. But in Val-d'Or and in Abitibi, there was a strong broomball population here, and they did host nationals before. Our organization is the Cree Nation, and the Cree Nation is larger than the country of France. And so for most of our region to come to Val-d'Or to work and host this event, some of them have a 12-hour drive, which is more than the teams from Eastern Ontario and Southern Quebec to get here. Val-d'Or is kind of a hub for the commerce of the Cree Nation. The Cree Nation are the 9 reserves that are spread out over the traditional lands of Iwishji. But the population is 20,000 total for the Cree Nation. And so Val-d'Or becomes a stepping stone for what do you need, your supplies, for your traditional hunting periods, etc. So, so we're going to be on a road trip to run this event too. I have one of the short drives. I'm 5 hours away from in the central part of Quebec. And so, we're looking forward to this. Now, our organization, this is what we do. We help grow sport for the Cree youth. And so the week after this event, we're going to be in Gatineau, and we're running a hockey and broomball festival for minor hockey, minor broomball. And there are 148 teams to be scheduled in 6 arenas over 4 days. So, we're used to this a little bit. First off, being on the road and coordinating complex things like schedules and hotels and different rinks and all of this sort of complex machination of normalcy. So it's a challenge. It's fun. This one of the elements that we really like of hosting the nationals is to improve upon our deliveries at home. When we host tournaments in our communities, there are no hotels of any great note, so people are staying with relatives in other homes. But what we can do is improve on the technology of live streaming games. We can improve on the quality of the deliverable. that it's a professional presentation and one that people look forward to coming back to. And these are some of the things we hope to get out of it. There'll be lasting friendships, of course, and new friendships to come. But just to have our fingerprint on something of this scope is important to our organization.
Yeah, I'm excited for it to be hosted by those communities because, like I've said, I've coached kids from the Cree communities that have come down to our area, and I've seen them hosting a couple tournaments here and there. But it's been nice to see those Indigenous communities start putting teams out to tournaments outside of Quebec, and I've seen them in Syracuse, and I've met a lot of them at the World Championship and stuff like that. So it's great that that the two worlds of broomball are kind of starting to meld now, and I think it's the more you can play together, the more you can grow together. So I think that's going to be great for everybody in a sense. So
Being part of this process has allowed us to prepare a team to represent the Cree Nation. So the EUSG United will be players from 7 or 8 of the 9 communities. We have determined that we're going to keep an elite program in place. We're going to start a development process for the U10-12s to start identifying who are those kids to keep in line for a select team that would go to provincials annually and vie for a chance to go back to nationals wherever they may be. And so we do have some champions of the sport that are steering us. Some of them that have played nationals, played worlds, and we know there's a lot of kids from the north of Quebec that travel down to Ottawa and go to Algonquin College because the Crees are speaking largely English in the province of Quebec, and Algonquin College on the Ottawa side is an English school. So there's many Crees going to school there, and we see a scattering of Crees playing broomball in Eastern Ontario and hockey for those kids and softball that have been able to find places to play. So these opportunities don't exist up north for the kids on the same scope. Plus the visibility that they could be exposed to for other opportunities. So I doubt very much if Jasmine Namagoose would not have been selected to represent the Federation in an international without having gone there as a student.
Started on Thunder, yeah.
And then playing in different programs in Eastern Ontario. So yes, she's played a lot of broomball just in the Cree Nation, but this has allowed her to excel in a new environment. So we see the possibility of growing the sport for our own needs, but also for the global good of the health and wellness of the kids. Indigenous kids face different hardships than most kids in the South, we'll call it. And so, earning some respect in a sport environment, it does a wonderful amount of service to the mental wellness of these kids. There's no doubt. So we hope to foster that and continue to grow it.
Well, still send us a few every couple of years because every time we get girls on our team from your northern communities up there, they really help us. We've got like I said, 4 this year, and there's 2 on our team that have harder shots than anybody I've ever seen, and it's like any adult male, they shoot harder than them. I'm like,
we start football at 4 years old up here.
Yeah, same with here.
Provincials is only at U10 in Quebec. So they've already played 4, 5, 6 years before they're eligible to be part of a provincial situation in Quebec. So it is an advantage, that's for sure. And they're bigger, stronger kids typically. So the power is a natural part of the game for sure.
Exciting. It's exciting to get more involvement from our Indigenous community for sure.
Yeah, there's such a large community. Like, and so many of them play broomball. I keep talk to them every time I run into them at the tournaments about different tournaments that they're hosting, and telling me how many teams are there. And I'm like, wow, that's bigger than our nationals or bigger than our provincials and stuff. It's just it'd be great to see them combining more and more and having huge tournaments and stuff like that. So I think if this is just the start of some great combining and working together. So
Hopefully, yep. Hopefully we can continue it.
so Daryl, where will you be doing your live streaming? Is it going on the YouTube page? Do you have any going at all, or?
Exactly the same as John. We're just getting the technical part of that stuff kind of locked down now. So we'll be doing live streaming from both arenas, like John is doing there. So we'll be doing that. So everybody will be able to tune in. I know I tuned in last year in Belleville and was able to watch most of it. So that was it's great for people to be able to do that. For us here, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because we were the hotbed of broomball in Nova Scotia, and the teams that came out of here were tremendously successful. Not only that, but I chaired and I was chairperson of 5 Canadian senior softball championships in our small community. In fact, we fought with Softball Canada for years to have the right to do that here in a small community, and we saw it kind of set the bar for that. Actually, to be truthful, and so we have a committee and a group of people here who just are hungry to do these kind of events. And so that's what we have in our back pocket that makes us want to do this. And our municipality is so supportive of everything we do. So we're so excited to be able to present it and do it here. So so that's it's a big deal for us here. So we're hoping everybody will really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to go out east. So it's gonna be it's gonna be great to get out there, and I might even stop in and see Melissa if I'm there if I've got time. But
We'll have to make sure she's at the rink.
she said
Well-
it's a great rink. She said it's beautiful and new and stuff.
It's a beautiful arena. Yeah.
She was a little surprised when I was going out there, but I was like, she didn't know much about broomball, so other than that I play. So she's said she'd probably try to get out and see a few games, which is why we bring it to communities that don't host often, because then you get to see.
And we're hoping to get a spark back from it too in our community.
Yeah.
So we were at a level and it kind of fell off, and we're really hoping that this will bring some. We're going to engage a lot of youth throughout the week, so we're hoping that we can get things back up and running and get it going again. So that's another incentive for us to do it as well.
Awesome.
That's exciting. And it sounds like you guys are the right guys to spearhead all of this, because you guys have had the experience. You've done many of these tournaments, not to say a broomball nationals, but in many other sporting events that you guys have taken on. So that's really exciting to know that it's in great hands, and I can't wait to see how well organized and run it is, like a fine working machine there. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, it will be. I have no doubt about it whatsoever. So yeah. So okay, now time for some fun questions. Predictions. Let's go with some predictions. Does anybody have any predictions for outcomes of nationals this year, or runners up, winners, any teams that you think will pull a surprise run? I know that it's a little difficult because you guys probably haven't been around it and very much and seen the other teams. And I mean, our community is so small, but it's a great community. It's typically the same teams going to nationals year after year. It truly is. But there are actually quite a few different team names that I've seen this year that I have no idea what's going to happen.
John, how do you think you guys are going to do with a lot of your kids from your area? Probably I think is it the first nationals for most of them, I think? Or?
Well, I presume it is. I don't know that specifically. We have the Namagoose girls coaching, and they have we have locked them in for the long haul. So we have a younger team. Our plan is get some experience here at nationals, go to provincials a month later, and go have some sort of a dynamic camp this summer to recruit a few players to phase out the graduating ones and try to build the momentum that we will ideally achieve from the event. As far as who I could predict, I don't follow the sport enough But I did see a nice feature on the small town Saskatchewan team on CBC this week, and I believe are they two-time champions?
3.
3.
Three, so I'll put my money there,
It's
and I'm not
it's
betting.
it's a sore spot for Cam.
They've got 3 golds. Thunder has 3 silvers in a row. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
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 Okay. Well, thanks, John. Daryl?
Well, for me, I did watch a little last year, so I certainly think that you can't ever count out Quebec and Ontario, obviously, and the defending champs. Yeah, they're always strong. You can never count out Ray Bender, so you never know what he's going to bring to the ice. So I've known Ray for years ago. So Saskatchewan always has a good team in the field. We're hoping that we can compete. History on us here is that a lot of our players were major hockey players, and they try the game and they fall in love with it, and they don't want to leave it alone. And so we're hoping to put a fairly decent men's house team on the ice, and hopefully we can be competitive. I know they went to a small tournament in Quebec and they were fairly successful. So we're hoping for good things, but I think Quebec, Ontario, Saskatchewan will be the top of the heap, and the rest of us are going to do our best to compete at that level.
Awesome. All right, we'll get into our final patented question here. Let's get into your best broomball memories. It can be as a coach, as an organizer, as a player, on or off the ice. Just I want to know what keeps you coming back to the sport, why you love it. Those certain kind of memories. John, what have you done in the history that you've loved about broomball?
Well, I've not touched broomball enough. I played one season in Georgia's local league. I refereed the next season because he thought I might make a decent ref.
Was that his nice way of saying you weren't a very good player?
I don't take it that way. We'll have to. I'll have a chat with him next week or 2 weeks. But no, for me, what I get out of broomball is my 25 years here in the Cree Nation. The passion and the commitment that especially the girls have for the sport. You get to see, an adult woman who's played since she's been a girl, and now she's got young kids in it, and she's helping. When you see that sport come full circle, to watch people giving back. Mom wants to be. I want to be like mom. That little attitude of the daughters. That to me says it all. I have spent my 25 years here trying to develop many sports and provide coaching certification across the board and support the organizational stuff in the recreation departments through some of the training our organization provides. Just to see that evolution it's magic for me.
Awesome. It's I know being sometimes not as a player is even better. It's more fulfilling sometimes. I see even seniors this year. I'm not going as a player. I'm going as a coach, and it's still going to be just as much fun just watching everybody grow together. So that's awesome.
You know what?
Daryl.
It's a good thing your eyes are brown. It's a
Yeah.
good thing your eyes are brown.
Yeah, for me, experiences and memorable moments, man, there's just too many, right? I said I was fortunate to be a player. I was fortunate to coach. I was fortunate to sit on the board of the CBF. The friends, the people you meet. I said it's the greatest sport for a family-like feeling that you'll ever play. I still have friends that call me regularly from across the country. It's just an amazing group of people that are in this game. And anybody that starts to play will fall in love with it. But my most memorable moment, and I struggle with that, and John's going to like this moment. And I thought, well, John's on the call, so maybe this will have some reflection on him. So played in 1981 in Val-d'Or. And here we were, a little team from Nova Scotia who were in our second national championships after Saskatoon. And we go to the rink to play after the opening ceremonies. Well, the opening ceremonies were organized by the people that organized the opening ceremonies for the Olympics in 1978 in Montreal. And the ceremonies were an hour and a half long. And so we were just in a daze at this opening ceremony. And it was the most professional event I think I've ever seen. So then we go to our dressing rooms and we come out to play. And we're playing the team from Quebec. And when we walked onto the ice, there was 5,500 people sitting in the seats.
Wow.
And we looked around and we really didn't know where we were, I don't think. And the other thing about that game was that we were fortunate enough to be playing against Robert Woods. Robert Woods was playing for Quebec that year on that team we played, and he was just unbelievable, someone to see play the game. His name's out there forever. So for me, that was a pretty big highlight, and one that I'll never forget as long as I live.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah, I
special.
wish I could have seen some of that stuff in the heyday of broomball, and hopefully we can get it back to there at some point, so my kids can see that at least.
And John, there was a good friend of mine that was on the board with CBF, was from Val-d'Or, Jean-Claude Bevin. I don't know if you've ever heard his name, but he was a figurehead in Val-d'Or, and
Right.
What a remarkable man.
I don't know him personally. His name came up this morning in a conversation because I sit on the board of Hockey Abitibi-Témiscamingue for minor hockey.
Yes.
And he was the host, I believe, in the Nationals when they came to Val-d'Or. And he also was behind getting major junior hockey here in Val-d'Or.
He was.
And
yes.
I've seen him before. I don't know him personally, but
a wonderful man.
He's championed, sport and the potential of this region for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks guys for joining us. This was a great conversation. I'm sure anybody that's going to nationals this year, or at least going to be at home watching it, is going to get a lot of useful information out of this podcast. So I'll be sure to share it with everybody that I know, and hopefully you guys all do the same once it gets posted. So everyone will be ready to go in a couple of weeks for both tournaments. For some of us, Chad, are you going to both? You must, right?
Yeah.
As president, you kind of got to go to all that stuff, eh?
Yep.
There's all your vacation days at work. Eh?
Yeah.
Especially when you got a week between the two and you got to figure out what you're doing when they're both out east
Yeah.
and you're from the west. So it doesn't make much financial sense to fly home and then fly back in 3 days. So
yeah.
Well, I certainly enjoyed the conversation this evening. It was great. And John, the best of luck in your event. I know things will go well.
Daryl, all the best. And I'm an old fastball guy too. So
can't beat the game.
I played fast pitch in Nova Scotia many, many times.
Really? With who?
Yep. I played senior men's for in the Ottawa Valley.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
small world, eh?
It's a great game.
All right, gentlemen.
And it's another sport that's dying.
It is.
Not in the Cree Nation.
Well, no, probably not.
We have as many broomball players as softball players up here.
Yeah, no, it's
we represent. I know this will be edited, so I won't. I know we're rambling.
Yeah.
For Broomball Quebec, for talking with Alex, we are 30 to 40% of his population, and we're only girls. We're not bringing boys teams to the equation. For softball Quebec, because of baseball being predominantly male, we're 60% of their population. And we're playing softball for guys and girls and fast pitch and all of it. So we have a unique situation here in those two sports. And so long as if global warming helps a little bit, we have 7.5-month winters and 3-month summers. So we'd like to balance it a little bit. We can populate both sports a little more.
Yeah.
So John Mark Smith's a good friend of mine.
I played ball against him many times.
Yeah, he's one of my best.
I'm just a bit player. Mark Smith is a legend, of course, but played against him quite a few times. He came to Ontario a lot. We came through. We mostly saw him in Quebec. They would play at Thetford Mines and Pont Rouge in the Quebec City area, and but certainly played against him in Halifax as well. So class act.
We're getting everybody off topic here, but
It's all
But
sports podcast now.
Yeah,
It's
it
fine.
is because I mean, I grew up playing fastball. Like that's what we had. Like, and now we used to have a league in Regina, the Rambler Park Fastball League. It used to be 25 teams. I think there's 6.
Yeah.
Like it's
I-
there's nothing
I-
anymore.
I don't even know how many teams around my area. I grew up too. I used to play competitive. I went to New York and Montreal and Toronto and stuff on a traveling team as a pitcher and pitcher or catcher, which was weird to play both those positions, but it was fun. And I stopped when I was about 14 and focused on ball hockey because I thought that would be a better choice. But now my daughter, I've got her. She's 5 years old. She's starting into baseball and stuff. So keeping her in baseball, and she loves broomball too. So it's just all about bringing the next generations into it to keep it growing. So
Well, it
Absolutely.
really doesn't matter the sport. I mean,
right.
whatever we can do to keep kids busy and active, they're going
Yeah.
to, they're the tablet or screen generation.
Yeah.
That we can't do anything about it, but we can certainly influence their physical activity and all those benefits you get from sport: teamwork, camaraderie, collaboration, cooperation, strategies. Those are
Life
things you
lessons is just
carry
incredible.
for life.
yeah. Even just dealing with your emotions, with the highs and lows of sports, the winning and the losing and stuff. It's you got to deal with disappointment and yeah, it's
Yep.
it helps you
It
all around.
shapes you.
For sure.
It
Yeah.
definitely shapes you in life. I know that I wouldn't be in the position I am today without sport.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I deal with something that I never was raised in the environment of. I've lived now 25 years in the Cree region, and I'm from Eastern Ontario, as white as it can be. The realities of Indigenous peoples and the hardships are concerning. They're alarming at times. Obesity. Our diabetes rate is at 30%.
Oh my.
In the Cree Nation, and type 2 diabetes at 8-year-old kids. So we're fighting all kinds of obstacles. While we can get, kids focused on playing competitive sports, we still have a lot of work to do on just getting the non-inspired active. So we're introducing a walk, jog, run program this year, where when you accumulate so many kilometers in your little pathway, you'll get a pair of shoes contributed towards you so that you can continue it. We have body image concerns, we have high suicide rates, we have addiction issues. Many Indigenous kids are smoking cigarettes at a young age. They're getting their first experiments with drugs and alcohol at alarming ages. We just feel that if we can engage more kids actively in sport, they're less likely to be followers. And that's
Absolutely.
the hope, so
100%.
it's a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Everyone does the best that we can, and it sounds like you're doing a great job trying to make a positive change in your communities out there. So, thank you for that.
Okay. Well, we'll see you guys soon.
In a couple
Very-
weeks, yes. Hopefully, I'll still run into all of you guys there. So,
Okay.
For sure.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Take
See
care.
ya.
Great to meet you.